for it?
Yeah, on the other side.
Okay, all right.
I can feel these walls closing in. Every time I try and rise above, I hit the ceiling. But there's never been a victory without a fight. I never saw a dawn where there wasn't first a night. But everything's gonna be alright on the other side. On the other side of the storms, I hear him talking to the winds, and on the other side of my pain, I'll find sufficient place. And on the other side, my friends, you're gonna know it once again. The side's gone again. On the other side. Here's a fact. I've been knocked down more times than I can recall. But the good book says it's about the rising, not about my fall. Here's the good news. This old struggle, it's gonna end. If I keep reaching up to his reaching down hand, everything's gonna be alright on the other side. And on the other side of the storms, I hear him talking to the winds. And on the other side of my pain, I'll find sufficient grace. And on the other side, my friend, you're gonna know it once again. The side's gone again. Keep holding on, my friend. There's victory in the end. On the other side. On the other side. On the other
Oh, that's beautiful. Wow, that is such a great song.
side. Thank you.
So when did you write that one?
Oh, probably about 8 years ago, maybe 9 years ago, 8 or 9 years ago, me and my daughter were out camping. And I love to camp with my daughter, sit around the fire, and
That sounds like fun.
wrote the song.
Yeah.
And a couple others sitting around the fire that night.
Oh my goodness, that's great.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That guitar sounds amazing. Yeah, I can't believe that it has such crisp, because a lot of times the 12 strings get
Yeah.
muddied.
It's because it has the reverse strings.
It doesn't get muddy at all.
And so when I'm picking, it's picking up the low note first instead of the high note.
But you know what I mean? When you hear a 12 string, a lot of times
Yeah,
it gets
it's
muddy.
got that, and it does. It melds together.
It loses the distinction
Except
of
I have
the
that
notes.
new Epiphone in there, and if I were to bring that in right now, you'd hear a complete difference.
Wow.
It of course, it's got it's it's strung up differently than this one.
Yeah.
But it doesn't muddy up either. It's really nice.
Wow.
But it's a lot louder than this.
Wow. Sounds awesome. The clarity's pretty incredible.
What other song do you have over there? Okay, so do you mind doing that song that you did for your best friend?
Oh, that was it. That
was the song?
Yeah, I wrote that song.
I didn't realize
yeah.
you wrote it at a campfire.
Yeah, the one I just did?
Yeah.
Yeah, I wrote that at the campfire.
Oh, my goodness.
Like 8-9 years ago.
Okay.
And then I actually wrote it for my best friend, one of my best friends. We rode horses and stuff. He's an Okie from Oklahoma.
Yeah.
And of course, we razzed each other about the whole Oklahoma, Texas thing. But
okay.
we rode horses together. Anyway, in 2021, he was diagnosed with cancer. And then like 8 weeks later, he was gone. But I wrote it for him several years ago to record it.
Oh, now I get it.
Yeah,
okay.
and then he never got back into the record. He sounded like a mix between Johnny Cash, Waylon Jennings to me.
Oh my
Loved
goodness.
his voice.
Oh.
Great guitar player. And then at his funeral, I did the song. And at the end of it, at the end of that song, I did a life is sinking like the setting sun, setting on the things I wish I could. The last goodbye's the hardest one to say. This is where the cowboy rides away.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man, that's
Barely got through that one.
Yeah, that would be hard to do. Wow.
Yeah.
What a beautiful tribute.
This is a fantastic. The tone on this is unbelievable.
That's a James White.
Wow.
James White, Brazilian rosewood. Everybody kept. I showed this the other day, and they were saying that looked like rubber bands. I guess you have to see it in person.
Yeah, you have to see it in person because it's got a lot of texture to it.
It's burl.
It's
burl.
got a lot of texture to it.
Yeah, it's
in
not.
person.
Yeah, it's very pretty. I think.
Mr. White, if you have one you just need to get rid of laying around your shop.
Yeah. He has one for sale.
I know somebody will write non-bestsellers on it.
He's got one called its name is Dolores. And it's the only one I saw for sale on his website. So, anyways, I think he builds them more custom for you. You tell him what you want, and he'll build it just for you.
I've seen some of those boutique custom guys. They're on a 2 or 3 year backlog.
Yeah, it takes a long time.
Could you imagine? So there's one guy. I'm not going to say his name. People can figure it out. But he builds phenomenal guitars. But you have to put a $20,000 deposit, and it's a 3 year wait.
Oh my goodness!
He only builds, I think he said like 20 to 30 a year.
But think about it. I mean, if you go work and you have a good paying job, you you got to make at least that much money. I mean, if you put 20 guitars at, I mean, that's a good paycheck. But
that's your deposit. I think they range. His base is like 25,000. But people that are buying a guitar like that, he does all of these inlays. I don't know if I can say his name or not.
Oh yeah, you can.
It's Driftwood Guitars.
Oh, Driftwood.
He not only shows him building guitars, but he will like get a guitar, say like an Epiphone Masterbuilt. He'll cut it in half after he plays it, and he'll show all this.
He's got a number of videos out.
It's got a bunch of videos out.
Exactly, because I saw.
He just built a guitar off of a 10,000-year-old piece of wood.
Wow.
And so that one sold, I think, for like 50,000, 60,000. But when you're at that point, he inlays very personal things that he can inlay off of here onto the. I don't, it'd be awesome to have one, but even if I had $1 million sitting in the bank, that would.
Exactly.
Are you going to play it that much?
But it sure is nice to admire them.
Absolutely.
And when you get a chance to play something like that, when you go to some of these stores, it's like
I would be thrilled
even for
just to
10
play.
minutes, it's like, okay, this is awesome.
The craftsmanship is incredible. And I can't remember his name, but his channel is Driftwood Guitars. And if you're not into boutiques, and like if you're like me, you'll never own a $30,000 guitar, but you appreciate the process. It's pretty neat because and then what I started watching because I like the Epiphone Inspired By series, right? Yeah. So he takes those and he plays them, and he's not cutting them down at all. He's like, hey, this is a pretty decent guitar or good guitar, and then he'll cut it right down and he'll open it up, which I cringe every time. Cutting it perfectly good.
Send it to me. see?
Yeah, exactly.
Get yourself,
But he
get
shows
yourself
you
a
the,
scope and look at it that way.
he'll show you the inside, and he's cut like good Martins, like D35s. He cuts them.
Wow.
And so I don't know if they give them to him or if he purchases them or whatever. But anyway,
You
yeah.
know,
it's a neat
come
channel.
to think of it, they do have cameras now they're not very expensive. You can get them on Amazon, and they're like endoscopes. You know,
Right, go up in
and you
there.
can,
Got a little light on it.
yeah, and you can look around. I mean, to me, that's awesome. But why cut it up?
Yeah, for real. Because but he keeps those parts for something he told me in the video. Like he doesn't just throw it away. It's not firewood. He does it. He does something with it. I can't remember.
Maybe you can put them back together and then give them to
Yeah, I
somebody.
mean, he's a master luthier.
Sure, he probably could if he cuts it right.
The only ones I've seen come close, that's in his league is like McPherson. They're old, the stuff they did before carbon fiber. You had one of those.
Yeah, I had actually I had a McPherson.
You had the carbon and the wood.
Yes.
What was the wood on the McPherson you had?
It was.
It wasn't maple.
I think it was Cocobolo.
That's what I think.
Yeah. And it was great. I loved the sound of it, but I didn't keep it because I couldn't play it. It was too large. And so they have a smaller size now. They didn't at the time.
I looked on McPherson right now, Reverb. They're still, you can't touch them for under 8,000.
Yeah, they're very expensive.
So McPherson is, and then Boucher Luthiers,
Yeah.
of course. Robin Boucher stuff is.
Well, and
There's a lot of great luthiers.
Well, and at the time that I was looking at McPherson, I was also looking at Batson guitars, and I still, there was only one that I played. I was down in Southern California. I forgot exactly, somewhere near Gilroy. But anyways, I played a Batson guitar, and it was jumbo size, but it was more like a quadruple O.
Yeah.
I must have hit that. It's more like a quadruple O where this is really thin. That thing, I never heard a guitar sound like that. To this day, I wish I would have purchased it.
Yeah.
It's the one
that got away.
It's exactly the one that got away. I still think about that Batson because I've played other Batson since, but they didn't sound like that.
Whether they call it, luthiers call it, is it an elk in a tree or is it an elf in a tree? I can't remember.
It's an elf on the shelf.
There's elf on the shelf. They either call it the elk in the tree, maybe somebody can correct me, elk in the tree or elf in, and what it is, it's like this, freak piece of wood they get that is just so perfect that the tone the guitar gives is just,
it's amazing.
and it's like,
it's just true because it's one of a kind.
It's one of a kind. And so I was watching Robin Boucher in the Boucher, he talked about that, but more in particular, like, they get most of their woods from right where they're at in Canada, the maple and, stuff like that. So it was pretty neat to say that they admit, like all their guitars are like a 9.9 at worst, out of 10. But then they'll get one that's a 10.
Yeah.
And then they will take it back apart and look in there to see, did they do something that made it sound that
wow, that's
1/10
really
better?
that's cool.
Because they want all their guitars to sound like a 10.
that, yeah.
A 9.8 is not good for them. They won't even release that guitar. It has to be perfect.
They probably have different ways to actually hear the tone when they're tapping and probably bring it up on a screen and everything.
But we're blessed in North America with great luthiers between Canada and the U.S. And of course, those are, you're it's not very budget friendly because you're going to, hit into the 5,000 mark to get into it. But but we talked about Mackenzie Marr to me.
Yeah.
I keep going back to them because that is a budget friendly guitar and it'll hold its own against a lot.
They used to, a long time ago, they had guitar fairs that were in Sonoma area.
I remember
they
we
don't
used to
have
go
them
to
in
those.
Healdsburg. Oh my goodness, they're probably some of the best guitar fairs I'd ever.
That's where you met some of these luthiers,
Yes,
like
exactly.
Yamamoto
Yes.
and the guy who does Santa Cruz.
And the guy that makes Loudon guitars was there.
Wow.
Yeah, there was a lot of different, and of course Yamamoto. And there was one, I was trying to remember his name today. He made a guitar with a double top. It actually had airspace in between the top.
Really?
And it was the most incredible sounding instrument. He offered me a really good deal, but by then I had already purchased one guitar and I was broke, so. But
See,
it
that's
was pretty.
the stuff I'd like to go to because I thought, I was talking to our friend that owned the store here in town, that he retired, but he'd go to NAMM, and I was like, wow, I want to go to NAMM. And then they're like, no, you don't, because it's so loud.
Yeah, you can't hear
You
what you're
can't hear
doing. Yeah.
anything. And I would only be there for the guitars, the acoustic.
Well, see, what they had set up there is that if you couldn't hear, they had rooms that you could go to with the instruments and test them out.
See, I would like to go.
It was nice. And they had classes on top of that. I mean, it was the most fun place to go.
That's what I'd like to do, is go to a fair like that where it has the acoustics. Now, I love hearing electric guitars. I have one somebody gave me. It's a great one.
Yeah.
It's not been out of the case in 5 years.
Yeah.
I don't play. I love the acoustic. So going to a place where it's not a bunch of electric guitars and sounds like two tomcats fighting on a clothesline, you know, where you can hear the actual.
And of course I have the Acoustasonic Jazzmaster, which is more electric. Yeah. But I bought those so that when I played in church, I could keep up with the sound. But even then, I like this much better. It's just, you know,
there's something about the
acoustic is
the feel
and to play against the other acoustic. To me, that's where it's at.
Yeah.
You know, every day, 24 hours a day.
For real. I mean, you don't to sit in the living room or around a campfire or whatever and just play is.
I mean, think about that piece of wood was a tree at one time. That's amazing.
The craftsmanship.
And it lives on in a whole different form. It's like it's born again.
Exactly. It literally is.
Yeah.
And the way that, you know, which one is it that has the cantilever neck? Is that the Santa Cruz?
No. That's Corcoran.
Corcoran.
Yeah.
That one is have you reviewed it yet?
Let me go get it. I'll go get it. Hold on a second.
To me.
Yeah, so actually this guitar here, this Corcoran, this is what I bought instead of the Batson.
Because I remember you going to that festival when you bought this. This was what, like 10 years ago?
Yeah.
Plus.
Well, actually, this one came from, where was it? I'm trying to think. It wasn't Santa Cruz. It was down near Santa Cruz.
So it's rosewood, side and back.
Yeah.
And what's the top?
The top is
Redwood. Redwood? Wow. Yeah. But it has the cantilever neck.
Yeah, so that's off the top of the guitar, so this can
gets more resonant.
It's like a drum.
Yeah.
I mean, he did. If you could look inside this, his braces are the most beautiful braces I'd ever seen. He has them. They're like 3-piece braces.
Oh wow!
And so in the middle is mahogany.
It's like art.
It is. It's beautiful inside and out. This guitar.
Wow, you can feel it like that. The low notes.
Yeah, it's really nice.
Beautiful. That cantilever neck is so cool.
Okay, so. You know, we're both playing in C, but just capoing up picks up that higher. To me, it sounds neat.
It fills in. It fills in
like a range.
Yeah.
It sounds really neat.
Really cool.
Almost like what you can do on a piano, because when you play a piano, you're doing exactly that.
Different octaves.
Yeah.
Is what you.
Yeah.
So it's almost like, you know, when I was in quartets and stuff, you'd have a bass, baritone, lead, and tenor.
Yeah.
So you're playing it in just different parts.
Yeah, it sounds really neat. This thing is loud. You'd think it was plugged in.
It really booms.
Yeah.
But in a very beautiful way. Not every loud guitar sounds good. You do remember that I used to be addicted to soap, right?
To what?
Soap.
Soap?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's okay, I'm clean now.
You have to get Tim started on his jokes. When he gets going, he doesn't stop. I don't know how you remember all those.
Well, I've got 2 kids, so I got the dad jokes come natural. Sometimes I'm just riding down the car and come up with them. And my daughter has in her phone, she writes down all the ones.
She does really?
Oh, she's got a list of, like, just the other day I was walking down the hallway and I stuck my head in the room and I said, hey, do you know why nobody likes hanging out with lumber? And she said, no, why? And I said, because they're bored.
Okay, that's a good one.
Man, that sounds great. The amount of vibration this thing gets. I wonder if that little thing I sent you putting it here would even.
I know, but I wouldn't know which one to put it on. You know.
Well, I would put on any of them.
Yeah, I mean, I'd have to get the dimensions and send it to him, but
I would put on one you enjoy playing.
And it doesn't restrict the top. That's the only thing I'm thinking would something like this thing. Listen to that. It's unbelievable. It's even louder than that one. I mean, that's like a drum, but it's.
You know what I feel about this one, and I'm probably totally wrong, is with this cantilever neck, and I could be totally wrong, you get all the sound, but here's the problem with cutaways. You lose any amount of volume from here, except with a cantilever neck, you're picking up the high part or the tight part, at least to me, of the top.
That's
And I could be totally wrong.
Yeah, that could be true, huh?
Because it's allowing it to vibrate, whereas when the neck is secure, you're not on the cutaway over here, you wouldn't be getting any vibration.
Well, when Kevin Corcoran is the name of the guy that built that. I've seen several of his models. He doesn't do cutaways on everything. He just did it on that one. But it would be kind of neat if you had one the same size with the cantilever, not cutaways. See if that.
Oh yeah, because I didn't believe it at first. I didn't believe that the sloped shoulder, round shoulder, was very much of a difference. But I am a believer.
There's a lot of space there. I mean,
and because I don't ever play up here. I don't need the cutaway at all.
Well, rarely do I play up there too. I mean, sometimes I'll move up that way, but like the artist says, the money's in the first 5 frets.
It really is.
It's true.
And I think so.
So I'm going to end this video right here, and I'm going to say to you, don't forget on Tuesday we have our live. And it'll be at 6 p.m. on Tuesday night. First time going live for Guitar Notes and Notions. And I hope that you'll be able to join us there. If not, you'll be able to see the video after the fact. But we'll be going live at 6 p.m. Tuesday night here, West Coast time in California. All right. I hope you all have a wonderful day or night wherever you are in this world.